we are, guys. So game 2 between Complexity MVP's Genius, going to be the red Protoss at the top left-hand corner, Battleship Beach, and his opponent is going to be TSL's Clide, going to be the blue Terran at the bottom right-hand corner, and it's time for some beach action, man.
It is.
What do you think's going to happen?
I don't know. We had a really back and forth game last time. It was on Metalopolis, if you guys are watching VODs and you're watching those delayed or something like that. And Clide, he jumped out to an early lead. Then he tried to be a little bit too aggressive, I think. He got a couple of his medevacs feedback, a good portion of his forces destroyed. Then he was behind, and then Genius went to the gold, and I thought he was going to get ahead, and then got his whole force crushed by ghosts. So, I mean, it was really, really back and forth. This is more interesting matchup for TVP. There are pretty big open forces, or open places in the middle, and spots to do quite a bit of flanking maneuvers and stuff like that. So Colossi are going to be pretty powerful here on choke points. I don't know, man.
And I want to build on that a little bit. On this map, a little bit of an interactive feature. As I said before, we have the rocks in the middle of the map, and a Terran player is almost always going to want to destroy those rocks so as to limit the amount of chokes that he has to deal with, especially against Protoss that has Colossus and Force Fields. So let's go ahead and take a look at those rocks, actually. I know there's one right here.
Let's see, where are they at? Yeah, what? No, hold on.
Does this map version not have the rocks that I'm talking about?
Ooh, interesting. Let's see here. It appears so.
Oh, never mind, guys. Scratch everything I said. I guess this version of Battleship Beach doesn't have the rocks.
Yes.
So,
furiously looking for them, but...
Okay, well, maybe not.
And who knows what version they played. We do have IPL versions of most of the maps, but it's very possible that, you know, if they played on the Korean server or something like that, that we could have the GSL version utilized or something along those lines. Clide has gone ahead and walled himself in right away. He's going to have old Marine number 1 coming out here in just a bit. There's also an SEV. He unfortunately completed construction of the barracks on the left-hand side. Means that he just needs to get away from that probe as quick as possible. And that, so he does have 2 SEVs running out and about until he has his first Marine done.
One thing about this map that's also kind of interesting is the fact that the Terran, especially in the Terran versus Protoss composition, is the possibility for there to be a base race, because the Terran's natural literally spits right out to the left side of the map more naturally, and then the Protoss MVP Genius spits out to the northern right side a little bit more. So a lot of times, I've seen quite a few games of a Terran and a Protoss playing, and then both of them decide to just base race and swap each other out.
Yeah.
So this map does have that distinct possibility, which makes the games actually very entertaining to watch. So that's also something to keep your eye out for.
Yeah, I've even seen that happen with Zerg players as well. Team Arena week number 1 with EG Strife Crow ended up going super roach production on this map, and then ended up just throwing units into the top right-hand expansion and just playing that base race game, and it worked out well for him because he was able to expand everywhere. So usually it doesn't work out all that well for a Zerg player, but in this case it did. So yeah, wouldn't be terribly surprised to see something like you were describing.
Especially if some player decides to go some kind of all-in strategy. But doesn't seem like that's the case. Clide here going to be going for the barracks into expansion. I like how he builds the command center on the north, on the top little plateau right there. It actually hides it from the scout a little bit more, and it's not too far away from landing right into the natural.
Yeah, certainly. And looks like he has a bunker up for a defensive position as well. It's going to leave him in a very good position to go ahead. Oh, he's actually going up to 4 racks after this. Build that I actually really like doing, the 1 racks into 4 racks afterwards, and hide that behind a bunker, and you're able to protect the choke points pretty easily. Oh, looks like this poor SCV was trapped behind the command center, though.
And the palm tree, man.
I know, dastardly palm tree. You would think he would just, like, razor that to the ground.
I know. I don't know, man. Apparently, palm trees are more sturdy and durable than a mineral patch is.
Interesting. Your beach, at least.
Yeah. So we do have a. What we need is a Hellion to come in there and burn it up. Unfortunately, the tree doesn't actually disappear. It just kind of.
1 gate expand out of Genius, though, into 3 gates.
Something over here. What is that? SCV? Okay.
Yep, just an SCV. About the same place that Clide decided to hide one on Metalopolis, just meaning tucked away in the 3rd or something like that for a nice delayed scout. Won't get caught by any early units that are patrolling back and forth. Here we go. Looks like Clide is going to go ahead and scout the relatively early expansion. He's going to pick up a good timing on that as well. Know that it was very early.
See the robotics facility, though. No, he does not. That is actually hiding on the top. No, that is not. What is the building hiding up here, then? Is that a pylon to the left? Oh, it's just a pylon.
It's just a pylon.
Okay. I thought he was building the
good position to warp in units, just like you were talking about, hiding units or structures out of vision up here on the high ground. Also doubly effective up here, especially when you can place a pylon there. In case of a Terran attack, you can just warp in units behind them or something like that.
A lot of times we also see players hiding their tech up there as well.
Certainly.
It's a good spot to put it, especially because if you don't hit that comm sat in the right location, then you won't reveal the high ground. We do have a couple of units pushing out across the map for Clide here, taking control of both the right Zonaga tower and the bottom left tower, which is going to give him complete map control. And I love how he sent equal packs of Marines to each tower. So no lone Zealot's going to be able to go out there and slice one Marine and take control of it. Now, with Clide realizing that the map is wide open, nothing coming out from Genius, he may be gearing up for a very strange Marine push, and he's produced a lot of Marines here. Hasn't even built any upgrades, no tech labs, no reactors yet. They are coming, but he has no stim, no shields, no +1 weapons. He's just going for a very large Marine rush right here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most predictable transition off, or not transition, but timing off of that 4 racks push. You just move out with about 16 to 20 Marines, and it works out really well. The guy who's doing this the most on the NA server is Drewby. Watch any of his TVT games, and he makes this really strong push with 20 Marines before any sort of significant tech is on the field. But it's a little bit different against a Protoss player. He is going to concede the push a little bit, as Force Fields would have been able to rip him in half.
Yeah, it's a very unordinary build against Protoss. I mean, I've seen it happen against Terran, against Zerg, excuse me, and it works pretty well because it's very unexpected. But against Protoss, a little bit unusual. Haven't seen that very often yet. But it looks like he pulls back. Isn't going to commit. I mean, really, stimless Marines, shieldless Marines, no +1 weapons, no Marauder support. They couldn't get chewed up pretty easily by force fields.
Yeah, this is actually, depending on what the structure is, okay, it's just a pylon, the same build that we saw out of Genius last game. Went 1 gate, Robo. Well, actually, this time the 3 gate was down a little bit earlier, but it's going to end up being a 6 gate plus Twilight Council. And, oh, Forge, but there we have a Dark Shrine being thrown down. So there is the obvious difference.
Man.
A Dark Shrine on the way.
DTs are on the way, man. So we'll see what Genius opts to do with that. And Clide is pushing out with a lot of Marines and Marauders now. The upgrade's still not done yet. And I don't know, excuse me. Excuse me.
You are excused. It's all right. Clide going to make his way up here, though. Get feeling better. That's the important thing. And looks like Charge was not researched this time around in favor of allocating the resources for the Dark Shrine. This is a very large MM force that's sitting out of Clide, but of course, he just wanted to try and coax some force fields out of his opponent because he doesn't have that combat shield or stim pack upgrade finished yet, and don't want to time his attack when those do finish.
You know, actually, Clide could have done a lot of damage there because his stim pack and combat shields are now finishing. I think he has an opportunity to push. He certainly did, because Genius didn't have any charge. He just had pure Zealots and a couple of sentries. And actually what Genius is waiting for is his Dark Shrine to finish. Now that the DTs have finished out, that's probably going to stop this push. And Genius is actually going to have an opportunity to do some damage with his cloaked units. But really, for a moment there, I think Genius was in a little bit of trouble because he didn't have any charge for his Zealots, and he just had pure base tier 1 units.
And here we go, 2 DTs coming from the top, 2 DTs coming from the right-hand side as well.
All right.
There is one scan about to be finished here. There are no scans available there.
He didn't even see the DTs.
Oh, they're just going to run through, and that's going to pull so many forces out of position for Clyde.
He has no engineering bay. This could be a game.
He does have an engineering bay, but he doesn't have, and he's going to have a scan here in just a second off of one of his orbital commands. There we go. He is actually saving that up and waiting for his Marauders as well, dropping down the missile turret as well. 1 DT is going to fall, but the 3 DTs that were here at the top right-hand side are actually doing a huge amount of damage.
Oh my goodness.
Dark Templar are going to move in, oversaturating this base at the very start. Clyde actually forced to bring all of his forces back.
This is horrible news for Clyde. He has to get this turret up. He's got to get a mass repair going on that turret right now, but he's going to lose the turret. The turret goes down, and another turret trying to go up in the background. Keep in mind, there's still DTs wrecking havoc inside of Clyde's main. Finally, a Comsat going down, able to kill off that DT, and it looks like this DT here killing off a tech lab. Still doing a lot of damage. Was not focused on getting the turret, so there is a turret in the main and a turret at the natural. Clyde able to get a little bit of stability here, but a lot of damage was done. His economy down by about 6 harvesters. The workers kill tab showing that he lost only 8, so actually not too bad.
Not too bad, but this is certainly setting him back because he missed his opportunity to do any sort of an attack.
Yeah.
Now that +1 in charge is just about to finish with High Templars with Storm.
Yeah,
in addition, he already has Dark Templar that he can turn into Archons right away. So he is definitely set back by this. Whether it's going to be game ending, only time will tell. But that charge lot with +1 armor with Templar tech built in there is a very good spot for Genius.
There is something going on up there. I see a little hint of blue.
It's just the factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, you know, Clide, I think, held that off pretty well considering how much money was invested into the DTs. I don't think they did enough damage to really justify their cost. I mean, they did set back Clide a little bit, And they, if anything, those ETs actually allowed Clyde to get charge out to save his butt.
They just prevented another expansion for about 45 seconds as well, and ongoing. It looks like now Clyde going to go ahead and put that inside of his base where it's a little bit more protected, and he is going to try and make a big push here. He's only on +1 weapons.
Oh, man.
And armor is just about to finish for these charge lots, but it's not done yet.
Oh, beautiful force fields!
And those are excellent, and all of the Bio Forces are going to get just annihilated. Clide does pick up a few forces in this medevac, but that's not going to be enough. These charge lots are going to pursue. +1 is now done. Storm is about to finish. He's going to be able to warp in some HTs as well. All those forces are picked up. Medevac's going down. Terrible situation for Clide.
Oh, Clyde just got completely raffle stomped right there. I mean, those charge lots all went in and did their work. One thing that I was casting with Pain User the other day, and one thing we kind of noticed and realized as a viable strategy is if you're dealing up with a bunch of charge lots, what you could do is stim one Marine, run in there and force all those Zealots to activate charge, and then engage once the charge has been activated. So that's something that I've been seeing a couple of Terran players do nowadays. It's unfortunate that Clide didn't do that right there because it could have helped him a little bit more, but as it stands, he lost his entire army to that charge lot mass attack.
And Genius just saturated his third base as well, and that third command center has not been lifted over for Clide quite yet. So his economy is going to be down. Even if he defends this push, that means Genius is going to be able to reproduce a lot faster. He's spamming down four gateways at the same time. Going to make his way in, starting to go ahead and take out economy. Clyde going to do a drop in response, and he will be able to take out a number of probes. But like you said, I don't think that that's going to be enough, and I think that this army from Genius is going to be able to take out all the rest of the forces from Clyde.
It certainly looks like Clyde has the GG out here. I mean, despite that drop going on in the background, both players might move very heavily right now. But that drop isn't going to really be able to do anything. It just kills off a couple of workers, forces a couple of round of warpins from the Protoss player, and at the end of the day, it looks like Clide has a GG. He loses all control over his main and natural, and that's it.
So we have another 1-1. We're going to head into game number 3 in just a second. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in just a minute.